Did you know that you do not have to cut out carbohydrates to fix your blood sugar? In fact, the fastest way to fix your blood sugars is actually more about adding foods, not eliminating entire food groups like carbs. And I've seen it firsthand. I have hundreds and hundreds of patients who've turned their numbers around in just days by adding these foods to their regimen. And not just temporarily, they're still able to keep their sugars low without medications for months and even years. So, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use each of these 10 foods to fully optimize your biochemistry and reverse insulin resistance on a cellular level, so you can bring down your sugars quickly and naturally, and most importantly, sustainably. Before I get into the first one, do me a quick favor. If you want more videos that explain the why behind your body instead of just handing you a pill, hit subscribe, give this a like, and leave me a comment telling me what your morning fasting number was this week. I read them, and the age and numbers of this audience genuinely shape what I cover next. So, let's get into it. Here is what almost no one explains to you in a 12-minute office visit. High blood sugar almost always starts upstream with a hormone called insulin. Insulin is the hormone that unlocks your cells. So glucose, that is the sugar in your blood, can get out of your bloodstream and into the cell where it belongs. When you have spent years riding the blood sugar roller coaster, your cells stop answering the door. The insulin knocks and knocks, and the cell stays shut. We call that insulin resistance. Your pancreas pumps out more and more insulin to compensate, your blood sugar climbs anyway, and the standard answer is a prescription that pushes even more insulin into a system that is already drowning in it. The system makes money when you stay sick, not when you get well. That is economics, not malice. There is no revenue and no time on a short office visit to teach you how food talks directly to your insulin receptors, so I am going to. My name is Dr. William, and every one of these 10 foods does one of 3 jobs. It slows the sugar coming in, it cools the inflammation that keeps your cells deaf to insulin, or it wakes the insulin receptor back up so your own body does the work it was designed to do. You do not have to do all 10 tomorrow. Add them in over the next couple of weeks and stack them. Let me show you the first one. The first food is fenugreek seeds. These are small, hard, amber-colored seeds, and you can find them in the spice aisle of almost any grocery store for a couple of dollars. If you ignore this one because it sounds exotic, you are walking past one of the most powerful blood sugar tools on the shelf, and it costs less than your coffee. Here's what fenugreek does inside you. The seed is packed with a soluble fiber called galactomannan. When it hits the water in your stomach, it swells into a thick gel, and that gel physically slows how fast your stomach empties carbohydrates into your small intestine. Slower emptying means the sugar trickles into your blood instead of flooding it. No flood, no giant spike, no panic dump of insulin. On top of that, fenugreek carries an amino acid that nudges your pancreas to release insulin more efficiently and helps your muscle cells take up glucose. In my own practice, I have watched fasting numbers come down within a week or two on this alone. To use it, take 1 teaspoon of the whole seeds and soak them in a glass of water overnight. In the morning, drink the water and eat the softened seeds before breakfast. If the slightly bitter taste is too much, grind them and stir a half teaspoon into yogurt or sprinkle it over your eggs. Start low. This fiber is strong and your gut needs a few days to adjust. Number 2 is cinnamon, and you almost certainly already have it in your cupboard, but the kind you have matters and most people grab the wrong one. The common grocery cinnamon is cassia, and it carries a compound called coumarin that is hard on the liver in large daily doses. The one you want is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes labeled true cinnamon. It is milder, it is safer to take every day, and it is the one I tell my own patients to buy. What makes cinnamon work is a group of polyphenols. Those are natural plant compounds that behave almost like insulin themselves. They help your insulin receptors grip glucose more tightly, and they slow your stomach from emptying too fast after a meal. The effect is real, and it is measurable. Research out of the Human Nutrition Program at the USDA found that under half a teaspoon a day meaningfully lowered fasting glucose in adults with type 2 diabetes. If you skip this one, you are leaving an easy win sitting in your spice rack. Use about a quarter to a half teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon a day, stirred into your oatmeal, your coffee, or smoothie. The trick is to pair it with a carbohydrate meal, because that is exactly when you want your receptors gripping harder and your stomach slowing down. Third on the list is broccoli sprouts, and I you to pay close attention here, because this one is the most underused food in this entire video. Not full broccoli, the little 3-day-old sprouts. Ignore the distinction, and you miss almost all the benefit. Broccoli sprouts are loaded with a compound called sulforaphane, and the sprouts contain somewhere between 50 and 100 times more of it than a head of mature broccoli. Sulforaphane does something none of the other foods on this list do quite as directly. It goes to your liver and quiets down the overnight glucose factory. Your liver makes sugar while you sleep, and in insulin resistance, it makes far too much, which is why so many of you wake up with a high fasting number you cannot explain. A 2017 study from Lund University in Sweden gave concentrated sulforaphane to people with type 2 diabetes and brought their fasting blood sugar down measurably, with the strongest effect in exactly the people whose sugar was hardest to control. You can grow broccoli sprouts on your own counter in a jar for pennies or buy them in the produce section. A small handful, a quarter cup, on a salad or sandwich most days is plenty. Do not cook them hard because high heat destroys the active compound. Eat them raw or barely wilted. So far, every food has done the same quiet work, slowing the sugar down or waking the receptor up, and we are only 3 in. The next 4 are the ones that change the meals you are already eating. If a friend or someone in your family is fighting their numbers too, send them this video because this is the stuff no one sat them down and explained. Anyway, number 4 is the avocado. Most people think of it as a fat to avoid because of the calories, and that fear is costing them. The fat in an avocado is monounsaturated fat, the same family as olive oil, and it is one of the most blood sugar-friendly things you can put on a plate. The reason is simple. That healthy fat and the fiber inside an avocado slow your entire meal down. When you add half an avocado to a plate of rice or toast, you are not removing the carbohydrate. You are putting a brake on how fast it turns into blood sugar. The glucose climbs gently instead of spiking. Over time, monounsaturated fat has also been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells answer that insulin knock a little faster. In my experience, this is the easiest food on the list to make a habit because it makes the meal more filling and you stop reaching for a snack an hour later. Half an avocado a day is a sensible amount. Put it on your eggs in the morning, mash it onto whole grain toast, or add it to a salad that already has a starch in it. Anywhere you have a carbohydrate, an avocado softens the blow. 5th is chia seeds. These are tiny gray and black seeds, and they punch far above their size. If you have ever seen chia sit in liquid and turn into a pudding, you have already seen exactly how it works in your gut. Chia is one of the richest sources of soluble fiber you can buy. When it meets the water in your stomach, it forms that same thick gel we talked about with fenugreek, and that gel wraps around the carbohydrates in your meal and slows their absorption to a crawl. The sugar releases slowly and steadily, so you avoid the spike and the crash that leaves you shaky and hungry an hour later. Chia also carries a plant-based omega-3 fat that helps calm the low-grade inflammation sitting underneath insulin resistance, cool the inflammation, and the cells start listening to insulin.